Hello and welcome to another episode of the Six and Out podcast brought to you by Sports News Blitz. I'm Bilal and this is the show where we talk everything cricket. Yeah, it's another episode of our IPL recap for the 2026 season. I'm joined by my co-host Dejan. Dejan, we're just over halfway through the league phase. We're getting a good read of these teams as we sort of enter the running as the teams look to secure top four. It's been crazy, hasn't it? We've seen it all in this last few weeks or so.
Yeah, it's been brilliant. It's been amazing. It's been, what the IPL usually is, filled with excitement and everything. As an RCB fan, it's perfect. We're still winning games. We're second currently. We just won today. Dismantled Delhi, which was great. But yeah, some of the games, they've been crazy, like in terms of a lot of high scoring games. And then recently we've had some low scoring games with bowlers really standing out. So yeah, it's been massively exciting and brilliant to watch. So I've been thoroughly enjoying the IPL as always.
Yeah, definitely. And talking about high scoring game, I mean, that game between Punjab against Delhi on the Saturday, I mean, talk about Punjab, like obviously backs against the wall, having to chase 264. And if they were to have any sort of chance, they needed a good power play. And Priyansh Arya and Prabh Simran Singh delivered, scoring 116 runs in the power play. And in the end, they made 264 look comfortable. I mean,
Yeah.
is there anything that's going to stop this Punjab team?
Well, maybe if teams actually take catches, that could help. And to be fair, also Punjab need to Shashank needs to work on his catches because
Yeah, yeah.
he dropped KL on zero, then he made 152. That's that's crazy though. You score 152 runs in a T20 and you don't win.
Yeah.
That
Third highest individual IPL score, only behind that
yeah
infamous Brendan
yeah
McCullum and then Chris Gale as well.
yeah. Like if you're KL, what are you thinking? What are you thinking in that situation? But back on Punjab. No, they're looking outstanding this tournament, and I just think the bowlers have got the quality and depth in bowling. I think Arshdeep's starting to come into form. He's not bowling as many extras now, which is good for them. And I think batting wise, yeah, Priyansh and Prabh Simran have been getting them off to great starts. And then Shreyas's consistency in the middle has been like superb. It's been exactly what they needed. And then, as I said, it's just what it's done is it's just not given as much exposure yet to Wadera, Shashank, and Stoinis, but that's a good thing because it's not they're not having to rely on them all the time because the top four has been so consistent this tournament. So, yeah, Punjab are looking right now by far and away the strongest team, 100%.
Yeah, and they scored 254 against Lucknow the game before that. So
Yeah,
it feels like if any team's going to score 300 this season, it's going to be them. But on the flip side for Delhi, I mean, they've had a horrendous couple of days. I mean, talk about what KL Rahul, how he must have been feeling. 152 of 67, strike rate 226, and your team still falls short. I mean, it
yeah,
goes to show there is a rooted issue. Like, because it's not even that Delhi played that bad. I mean, it looks like it
yeah,
because it feels like they're probably 20 runs short, but even Nitish Rana had a handy 91 as well. So it feels like, and then coming into yesterday's game now against RCB, where it felt like they forgot how to hold a bat in that game. So it just feels like since they actually beat RCB in Bengaluru, they've now lost three in a row,
yeah.
and in the way they've lost their last two games, they might be mentally checked out as a team. I mean, does it seem that way for you?
Well, I mean, it's a great contrast, isn't it? Going from 260 to going to 75, but it's a weird one because the batting, it you can't really judge it based on two completely different completely different innings. Sorry, but yeah, I just think these two games, if it was ever going to be a couple of days that defined the team, it would be these two games. And as though the Punjab game, Delhi needed to win realistically. They wanted to kind of make that push back again for a top four spot, and then to lose the way they did, the bowling wise just wasn't good enough, and fielding wise it wasn't good enough either. And then Yeah, today it just looked completely shot to pieces by RCB's bowling, which is weird because if you actually look at Delhi's batting lineup, it's very strong. With the likes of KL, Miller, Abhishek Parel came in obviously as an impact sub, so they've got strong batsmen there. They're just not doing it, and they're just not getting the combinations right, which is weird because Delhi teams of the past have in the last like 3 or 4 years they've been able to get them combinations right, and it's allowed them to win key games. But yeah, they're just not doing enough in the important situations consistently as a team.
Yeah, and it feels like for his Delhi team, it has to be now. I mean, the next three games are
Yeah,
supposedly against slightly weaker opposition in Rajasthan, Chennai, and Kolkata. So maybe there's hope, but yeah, you just feel like they need to string a run and just put this behind them now. I mean, like I say, it was against the two
yeah,
top teams, even though they were sort of dismantled in the way that they were. But yeah, it is about just moving forward, and yeah, they're still
they
in the
have to.
mix
Yeah,
and in the table. So yeah, definitely. But moving on to RCB, who did handed Delhi that also horrendous defeat. The probably quickest match I've seen anyway. But yeah, I mean, it was good from RCB because obviously they actually lost to Delhi in that day game in that change green away stretch, which I swear is cursed for them. But they bounced back nicely against Gujarat, and we got to see Josh Hazelwood. And I want to focus on the bowling because Bhuvneshwar Kumar right now, he's the joint highest wicket taker with 14. And then we see Josh Hazelwood, how he sort of ripped through Delhi's lineup. If there was a slight concern with RCB, it may have just been the bowling because the batting was firing on all cylinders, but the bowling right
I, would,
now it
I
looks
wouldn't say
unmatched.
I wouldn't say bowling. I'd say bowler. I'd say bowler
Okay,
because
yeah, yeah.
it always
Premium
comes back.
bowlers,
It just always comes back to Amari Shepherd. I don't understand why. Can you just have one
all
game?
roads lead to him.
Even today, you bowl a team out for 75, and his economy rate's still over 10. Like, how's that possible?
You had the chance to
It's
break
just
the
look
49 curse that was all RCB's backs. They
exactly.
were eight for
No,
six, 9 for 6.
no, but I don't. Yeah, but I don't think that's necessarily fair though, because of the impact sub rule and everything now. Because like 8 for 6 and David Miller's, no, yeah, 8 for 6 and David Miller's your number 8. That's not fair. And besides, Delhi got like 23 runs from Romario Shepherd anyway, so they got away with it. But excluding Romario Shepherd and his 17 run overs, yeah, RCB's bowling's been outstanding. Hazelwood has been, since he's come back, he's been brilliant. Obviously, the first game we got smashed around by Suryavanshi, but everyone did. So yeah, Hazelwood's been outstanding. Boovies seems to be rolling back the years, the way he's bowling, the swing he's getting, the control. But I think the real key's been spin. I think Suyash and Krunal. Krunal's the most aggressive spin bowler you're ever going to see with the amount of short balls that he bowls. But it works. It works. And then Suyash, his variations that he's been showing, his economy rates have been very, very impressive for a leg spinner. So, yeah, their bowling's been brilliant, just with the exception of one player. But,
Yeah,
we'll see what happens with Mario Shepherd.
he's inevitable, isn't he? But yeah, it's key you bring up the spinners because I thought since that Delhi game in Bengaluru, I thought
Yeah.
the spinners of Delhi sort of outclassed the spinners of RCB with them having Aksa and Kuldeep, who are probably seasoned players. But yeah, I think RCB's spinners and just their bowling attack in general is just sort of is going strength to strength in a way. And the thing is now with RCB is they've finished all their games in Bangalore, winning 5 out of 6, which is
Yeah.
really good return because we talked about their home form sort of struggling last season. I
Yeah.
mean, it didn't matter because they were champions, but yeah, they get to play at Raipur, but they've actually got a couple of away games before that. So I guess yeah, new ground, and we'll see how they fare.
Just got to keep going. Just got
Yeah,
to keep going.
yeah, and right now they're second, but moving on to a team who can't even buy a win at home is Lucknow Super Giants. They've lost their last 8 from last season as well, and I think it's just been a mess because in terms of their bowling, I do think they're sort of top 4, top 5, maybe out of all the IPL teams.
Yeah.
But with their
Yeah,
batting, it's just there's no direction with their batting. And one
yeah.
thing I've noticed is they've tried opening with Ayush Badoni and then dropping Markram down, but that's not worked because they went back to that. They went back to Markram opening
I,
against KKR.
I
So
said it. I said it earlier. LSG, the most indecisive team in the IPL. They just chop and
yeah,
change where everyone goes. But
that's what it is. Yeah,
no, but even still, the batting's been so bad. Like the bowling, I actually think has been, especially the pace bowling. I think it's been
yeah,
superb. I think Prince Yadav's been outstanding. Mohsin took 5 against KKR. You know,
yeah,
Shami's been outstanding. You know, obviously Mayank Yadav went for a lot of runs, but he's just getting back to full fitness and everything.
yeah.
But so I think the bowling's been outstanding. The batting, though, oh my days! You can't tell me that a team with Markram, Mitch Marsh, Badoni, Pant, Pooran, Mukul Chowdhury cannot chase 150 in back-to-back games against Rajasthan and KKR. KKR couldn't
No,
even buy
it's
a win, and
no.
yet Rajasthan couldn't play them. You know, the batting's just so poor. You know, it, changes need to definitely be made now because they can't. You can't, especially in modern day T20 cricket, you can't be expected to not be chasing 150s
Yeah, or struggling
back-to-back
to
games.
anyway. Yeah,
Exactly. It's just not nowhere near good enough from their batsmen. And, you know, like, as a captain, I feel like there might have to be maybe talk about what the captain's future is going to be in terms of leading the side. Because it's just not been the Rishabh Pant that we've seen in the past. And to be fair, I don't think he's ever been in a situation where captaincy's really benefited him. I think you're better off just letting him play his natural game. But it just looks like captaincy's just taking its toll on him. And I just think a change needs to be made with the captaincy. And I think that can just maybe just release a bit of pressure off Rishabh Pant because they need to do something different
yeah.
because that batting attack is just nowhere at the moment. And it's just not good enough.
Yeah, I think where they're going wrong as well is their use of the impact player because it's usually a guy like George
Yeah.
Linder who's he's a spin all rounder, but he's better known for his bowling. So it's like you
Yeah.
don't need an extra bowler. So it's like I don't know who like Matthew Brett's on the bench. It's like they haven't really got many options. So I can see why they sort of try tinkering the lineup, and yeah, it's just not worked. And yeah, as you mentioned, something needs to change at this point, and their batting is the reason why they're 10th right now. And
Absolutely.
I'm
Absolutely.
I'm afraid to say, but if it continues the way it has been, they're probably still going to stick there. But moving on to the team that beat them and sent them to 10th was the Kolkata Knight Riders, and the one key thing for them and the reason why they've won back-to-back games is Rinku Singh, back-to-back half centuries. And his knock against Lucknow, that reminded me of the old Rinku Singh, especially from a couple of seasons ago at KKR when they were a good team for once. But he's such a key asset, isn't he? I mean, we saw him take 5 catches, including one in the Super Over. So when he's firing with
Yeah.
bat and in the field as well, I mean, KKR, they just look like an elevated team.
I mean, it took him long enough. It took him like 8 games or something. But yeah, as I said, class players they'll always shine through. And Rinku Singh's a very very classy player. And I think at the start of the tournament, it was like a thing. I also give him a bit of credit in the bank because I think at the start of the tournament, a lot of people weren't sure where he was going to bat. I think a lot of
Mm.
people thought he'd be like a number 6, number 7 kind of finisher. But then KKR kind of used him up front in the top 5, and it was just like they kept changing. It didn't really work, and then I think the last couple of games they've settled him in a position, and yeah, I think it's worked perfectly for them because it's allowed them to finish off games, finish off innings, crucial performances that they needed because they needed to get these wins because they went a long run without one. So to get 2 wins is massive, and you know if KKR are gonna, you know they're no longer last, they're no longer bottom, they're no longer chasing just a win. They might be able to now look forward because you know they're starting to become a bit more solid as a team, and they're starting to get the bowling combinations right. There's still a few question marks I'd say with the batting. Um, Talks about maybe the overseas opener, Seifert and Finn Allen haven't exactly set the IPL alight as maybe we'd expect them to, but they're getting better and they're improving. which is always
Well,
which is
yeah, I
always
was
good.
gonna say the thing is with their batting is they keep losing too many wickets in the power play. I mean, it's like every time I watch them, they're always 2, 3 down within the first six, and in a way, that's sort of allowed Rinku to sort of play sort of a mature knock that's sort of bail KKR out in a way. But another thing as well is their bowling, especially with their pace bowlers. I mean, you saw Kartik Tyagi in that last over. It's like, in a way, you just felt sorry for him because it's like, I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to get that Yorker in the block hole, but
Yeah,
far from it. And to bowl back to back no balls, and to be fair to him, he almost pulled it back, but then that last ball six off Shami, it's almost like a confidence dimmer. And in a way, he would be puffing his cheeks that KKR managed to win that super over. But it feels like with Vaibhav Aurora and Kartik Tyagi, it's like they both can't do well together. It's like Vaibhav
yeah,
had a good game against Lucknow, but then Kartik Tyagi had a good game against Rajasthan. So
yeah,
yeah, especially with their bowling as well, because I think their spinners are on lock, like Narayan, Anukul Roy, Varun Chakravarti, who comes on as an impact. So their spinners can sort of lock down teams. If they can
yeah.
just, if the Pacers can just keep up with them, they could sort of set a template of like just closing out innings and maybe defending scores. That might be their new sort of template. Because I know Rahane, he does like to bat first in these games
Yeah.
when he does win the
Well,
toss. Anyway,
yeah. Well, again, I said it at the beginning of the season. You got some bit of sympathy for KKR's pace bowling because they've had so many injuries, and yeah, I think whenever Patirana comes back, because I'm pretty sure they said he'd be back like 3 weeks ago, and he just hadn't seen him. So if he does come back, that will be a big plus for them. But yeah, I got some sympathy for the KKR pace bowling, but as I said, they're showing signs of form. They're showing signs of consistency. They're starting to get a few combinations right, and now the key for them is to just keep this going and keep pushing.
yeah, and then moving on to the Chennai Super Kings, where you thought they were sort of getting their mojo back. Like they seem to be back to their best, especially winning back-to-back games at Chepauk. But then since then, they've it's been a bit of a struggle. I mean, they got dominated by Gujarat in that game, and then in the recent game, I was watching it. I was like, "Is the Test season back on?" Because Ruturaj Gaikwad. I mean, I don't really blame him because, to be fair, that pitch at Chepauk, it was like we're in Perth. Like the amount of pace, the
Yeah,
bounce the Gujarat bowlers were getting, and in a way, some of the shots they were playing, in a way, I actually didn't mind Gaikwad staying in, but especially with the scores we've been seeing and at the strike rates, it's sort of hurt to see. And I mean, how do you see it? Because a lot of people would say, "Oh, Gaikwad's playing too slow," but in a way, he did have to play the situation.
yeah, and I think it's just a big innings for him in terms of confidence. I mean, the guy's he's barely he I don't he struggled to score a run in this IPL. He's really struggled. So I think for him just to get an innings, it's good, and you hope for CSK's sake that he start to become that Ruturaj that we know he can be, because as I said, Sanju Samson had a failure against Gujarat, but you've seen he scored 200s, seen that quality there. You just you just need them both to work to get like to be good at the same time, which we haven't seen yet in this IPL. So I think CSK still need a bit more from the batting if they're going to want to push forward. They can't just, as I said, be relying on Sanju Samson because the two times that they scored over 200, he scored hundreds in both of them, which means that not many of the people are doing enough to help you batting along. So yeah, they need to give Sanju Samson more support, and if they do that, they'll get bigger scores, and then they'll have better chances of winning if they do that.
Yeah, a lot more pressure will be on Samson and Gaikwad in particular because Ayush Matre is actually out with an injury, and we saw
Yeah,
Urvil come in, who people were very high on him because he had a very good domestic season, but it's not easy. It's not easy coming in and just start firing, especially if he's going to bat at number 3, 4. And yeah, I was shocked in that game because they played Safraz as like an impacts like really early, like number
he got our
4.
first ball, and he got
And
our
yeah,
first ball.
exactly. So I don't know how their batting line is going to look like going forward because Ayush Matra will be a really big miss. And
Yeah,
someone like Gaikwad, for a CSK fan, you have to hope he steps up. Because yeah, this Chennai batting lineup, I don't know, I just feel a bit light in terms of just the firepower they possess.
yeah.
But
But you know what? The big question I have to ask:
yeah,
no sign of MS Dhoni anywhere. You know,
I don't know. He may have secretly retired. I mean,
it's been
don't
quite a
let
few
anyone hear that. But
because all I heard at the start of the IPL was, oh yeah, only a little calf strain, minor. He'll be out for like the first week and a half. It's been nearly 6 weeks, and he's not even been at any games or anything. Like, unless the injury is like a lot more worse than they thought, but if
yeah,
they were only saying it was like a week and a half, then I don't think it's
wait,
there's
didn't
no
he
chance.
like come out and practice in a net session or something? Like
He
it
might,
was really early in the season, and then you just haven't heard from him since.
yeah, he might have, but like that's the only time that I haven't seen MS Dhoni at all in this IPL,
Yeah, no,
and
it's very foreign to see.
again, I think that's what they're kind of lacking as well. A few
Yeah.
runs in the middle order because I think Brivis has done a good job since he's come back in, obviously. But I just think Kartik Sharma, a young player, not really. He struggled a bit in his first season. Dubé's not been great so far this season. I think they've been relying a lot on fucking Jamie Overton to score most of their runs.
With bat and ball.
Yeah, exactly. So
Yeah.
you feel like getting someone like that and just trying to get some more runs in the middle.
Definitely.
Capitalize on the good starts that Sanju Samson gets you off to, because the other players just aren't really doing it. And I think
Yeah.
if Dhoni comes back, I don't know when, I don't know if he ever will at this point. But if he does come back and he can play that kind of finishing role that we know he can, then CSK will be better off for it. But as I said, it's been I think nearly 5 weeks, and I don't think I've not seen him at all.
No. Yeah, and it's getting to a point where if we're gonna see him, it should be now. But I mean, let's see. But CSK actually do play Mumbai Indians next, and that's the next team that we'll talk about. And this team confuses me because they like demolish Gujarat by like 99 runs, and then they lose to CSK by 103. So that net run rate margin just cancels itself out. But
Yeah.
I mean, with Mumbai, and then they lose to RCB after that as well. And with Mumbai, it just seems desperation time. I mean, they've changed a lot in terms of just the personnel, in terms of players being brought in. Because I know Deepak Chahar did the best with the ball, and then it's just it seems to be like a lost cause for Mumbai. I feel it is anyway, which is weird because we saw how good they can be when all the players are firing.
Yeah.
But I just don't think we're going to see that enough. I mean, how do you see it?
I don't know. It's weird. It's weird because like on paper they should have the best team. Like they've got star quality players. They've got star-studded lineup, but I just don't think players have been informed. It's that simple. I think Bumrah finally got a wicket, so that's good. But Bolt hasn't had a great season. Obviously, he's been taken out of the team now. Santner's injured, so he's not going to be playing for the rest of the tournament. But batting wise, I just think Roy wasn't having his best season. Quinny scored 100 in his first game, but then hasn't really backed it up. Surya, Tilak, with the exception of the 100 that Tilak scored, which was incredible. Again, nothing really. Batting just hasn't really worked, and I don't think Hardik's delivered his best performances with the bat in terms of finishing games as well. So there'll be more question marks about that, about his position as captain, which I said I don't agree with, but it's just the nature of the media, I guess. So it's hard to pinpoint what's gone wrong. Again, I just think it's a case of players just aren't informed. Like they're trying different combinations and stuff, but no matter what they try, it's just not working because players just aren't informed.
Yeah, and I think what doesn't help is they've only won one game at home all season. That was literally the opening game they had against KKR. So one win out of four at home definitely doesn't help their cause anyway. And it feels like they have to go on a run. And we know this Mumbai team can go on a run, but it's whether they're capable of stringing it. And in my opinion, I just don't think they are.
Well, if they're going to go on a run, they need Surya, mainly Surya, Tilak as well.
Just the players stepping up.
Yeah, and Hardik's going to have to finish innings off as well. They need more from certain senior players, which they're just not getting. And again, I've said it in the past. I don't think that's the fault of the captain that other players aren't in form, but
Yeah.
at some point the captain might have to take a bit of responsibility in terms of his own performances, because I don't think Hardick's delivered his best performances at all, especially with the bat. You know, and with the ball, they've not really looked threatening. Like they've been only taking, apart from the Gujarat game, been taking two or three wickets max a game. That's not going to win you many games if you do that, especially in T20s.
Yeah, and in that Gujarat game, it was a spinner, Gazantha, who was
Yeah,
and Bumrah in particular, because a lot of teams just see out Bumrah, and
exactly.
yeah, they'll get one or two boundaries off of Bumrah and then sort of play him out, and it's smart in a way. And Bumrah, in a way, he becomes ineffective in the sense that the other pacers and the other bowlers aren't picking up wickets, so
Exactly.
he can only do so much. So yeah, it's difficult for Mumbai, but they've got the players, and they just need to string something together. It feels like we're saying this for a lot of these teams. But moving on to Gujarat then. I want to have your take on this because I think they're the only team to sort of bowl two front pacers and give them 3 overs each in the power play in terms of Mohammad Siraj and Kagiso Rabada. And to be fair, it's works because Rabada is the highest wicket taker within the power play.
Yeah.
And yeah, we've seen their bowling dominate teams. I mean, we saw that game against Chennai. They had Chennai at 4 runs and over until like the 12th over.
Yeah.
I mean, how do you see the strategy? I mean, is it a case of if it works, don't sort of tweak it? Because we've seen like them introduce spinners until the 9th, 10th over, which may be a bit risky. But how do you sort of see Gujarat in terms of their bowling strategy?
I think it works because of their middle over bowlers. I think Prasidh Krishna it's probably been the best bowler in the middle overs because of how consistently he takes wickets. You know, again, criticise him a lot for certain performances, like at times maybe when he goes international, but in the IPL he just seems to become a different player. Like he just takes a lot of wickets. It's hard to falter it. The only thing I'll say about that is that they need other bowlers in form. I don't think Rashid Khan's having his best IPL season, and it's probably the second year in a row now that he's not having his best IPL season. So that's something they might need to address. Just try and get him back in any kind of form. Because if they do that, they'll start to dominate teams with the ball. Because I said Siraj and Rabada are doing such a great job at the beginning, and then you have Pras who's doing a brilliant job in the middle. But then you just want to see a bit more from the spinners because sometimes we're not really seeing enough. I mean, Washington Sunder's, I think he's barely bowled in this IPL, and you know Rashid. He's having to do all the spin job pretty much on his own, and he's struggling.
They haven't even brought in Saiki Shaw, which I find a little bit surprising because he's been good for a couple of years.
Yeah, I mean they gave that debutant, what's his name, Sutter, that left arm spinner.
Yeah. Left arm, yeah.
He bowled all right, to be fair. He looked decent, but it's just if you have someone like Saiki Shaw, I just don't understand why he's just not played at all.
Yeah. Do you think they are a bit too pace heavy because you got like Ashok Sharma? Arshad Khan actually came in for Prasidh as well, so it feels like they're very stacked with their pace bowling. But maybe one or two, it wouldn't hurt to add 1 or 2 spinners in the mix as well, along with Rashid.
I mean, it's not only that. I just think you just need to just get Washington Sunder bowling. I don't really know why he's not. Like, granted, as a spinner, he's not, he's not a world beater as a spinner. I get that, but if he could consistently give you 2 or 3 overs a game, it will massively benefit your team because you're able to alternate and change your bowlers around. I think like Jason Holder has been a very important addition to that squad because he just offers something different, compared to the other pace bowlers. But I don't know, it just feels like they're just putting so much reliance on spin on Rashid Khan, and then it's like no one else is really going to back him up, because they're not really giving opportunities to other bowlers. As I said, I just don't understand why Washington Sunder doesn't bowl more.
Yeah, I agree. And I like how you brought up Jason Holder because do you sort of think he's the fix to their middle order issues? Because I feel like that's the bigger issue with this Gujarat team. Because we've seen Glenn Phillips be dropped. And then, Jason Holder's sort of coming in. I don't think he's had much like balls or anything to sort of face to sort of prove that he is the man. But especially with the ball, I thought he did really well against Chennai. So I don't know. Do you still see that middle order as an issue, and them sort of being very top three heavy? Would you say that's holding them back as well?
I don't know if it's as much as a factor as it was at the start of the season. I think now, seeing a couple of innings of Washington Sunder, been decent. I think Jason Holder, to be fair, I think he's a better, in terms of ball striking, I'd say he's arguably better than Glenn Phillips for this format. Because I think some of the way, he's got long levers and he's able to reach for deliveries and really strike them. So I think he's been a great addition to the squad. I just would have had him starting at the start of the season. Glenn Phillips hasn't really, with the bat, Glenn Phillips hasn't really done enough. He
Yeah,
just hasn't really done anywhere near enough. And yeah, I wouldn't say that as top three heavy as they were at the beginning, but you still want more from certain
yeah,
players. Like, Sharuk, not really seen him. Tuati, I forgot even playing.
yeah, same.
That
Yeah,
he's just not really seeing anything from him. And one thing I would also say, I don't know if they're necessarily top order heavy, because I feel like the top order is wasting a lot of deliveries.
yeah,
Like, Shubman Gill has shown a lot of times in this tournament his class, and he's looked very good. Sai Sudarshan didn't score many runs until the last couple of games, but against RCB, they were 116 for none, and they finished on 205.
yeah.
And they
And
were one.
Sudarshan had the
Yeah,
slowest 50. It has the slowest 100,
yeah,
and
and
that was in that game against LCB.
Shubman Gill 32 off 24. Not exactly the kind of innings
No.
you want. So, but then again, I said that at the start of the season, can you really blame the top three for batting like that when the middle order hasn't really been delivering? But yeah, so they're gonna. Just think they just need to be a bit more aggressive with the bat. I think they need to just, if you, especially in the top three, like, forget about the way the others, like, forget about the people behind you. Just focus on playing your game and playing as aggressive as possible. Because that top three should be able to win you games consistently because of how good it is and how, aggressive they are in T20 cricket. But they're just not really doing it. And, that change needs to happen if they're going to start to win games more. They're going to need the top three to start playing more aggressively. And it will hopefully allow the middle order to kind of just have more freedom to play.
Yeah, definitely. And we'll see how this GT team fare, because their next two games is RCB again, and then Punjab, who are the top two. So
Yeah.
they're currently fifth, 4 wins, 4 losses. So yeah, these next two games will be a major indicator to see potentially how their season ends up as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, moving on to the next team then in Rajasthan Royals. And yeah, they have slowed down from their sort of 4 win streak start to kick off the season. And yeah, I mean, it feels like they're sort of losing that bit of momentum, if that makes sense. And I feel like, again, like GT, they're very top heavy. I mean, you talk about Vaibhav Suryavanshi, his innings of 103 of 37. We talk about big scoring innings, not in terms of KL Rahul, big
Yeah.
scores, not even winning your games. That even wasn't enough against an SRH team who've looked really good. But another thing as well, regardless of that game, they haven't even got past 160 apart from that game against SRH. And one person I want to highlight is their captain, Rian Parag. I mean,
Yeah.
I'll just read the scores of the last 4 games. 4 of 6 deliveries, 7 of 9 deliveries, 21 of 20, and then 12 of 14. I mean, given that Jaiswal has struggled a little bit, it does seem like the middle order is starting to be a little bit exposed. I mean, I feel like we could just carbon copy what we said about Gujarat, but is it the same issue for Rajasthan as well?
I wouldn't say it's as bad for Gujarat as it has been with Rajasthan. I think even Hitmeyer's barely scored a run. But Parag's he's really disappointed me with the bat, because I thought, going back to number 4, this was going to be a big season for him, and I thought this was a big chance for him to maybe make a case to get back into the India team, because he's shown in the past that when he gets on form and when he plays his natural way and he consistently scores runs, he's more than good enough to be in the India team. But I don't know, it just feels like it's just kind of been weighed down when he bats. He doesn't really look this as fluent, and I don't really know why. Because Rajasthan's a good place. It's usually a good place to bat on. He's usually got a very good outfield, but he's just not. He's just really struggling. And I think their batting right now is so. Jarrell's played well. Jarrell's played a couple of really nice innings. Jayswal played a couple at the start, but you want to see a lot more from him. It feels like Suryavanchi's just at 15 to be doing that and kind of carrying the batting on your back is it's quite alarming signs just for Rajasthan, especially in the last couple of games, the last like 4 games, where they've managed to lose games. Their bowling, I think, as Archer, Nando Berger, others, and Bishnoi really have contributed, I think, mainly to the wins. But the batting from pretty much 4 downwards, it's just nowhere near enough in terms of runs.
Yeah, I don't want to harp on Parag too much, but I feel like some of the captaincy decisions as well in the field. I think it was the game against KKR where Jadeja was like on fire, and I feel like it's because KKR had a left-hander in. He's like, oh, I don't want to bowl Jadeja for a 4 because the left arm bowler, left hand matchup. But I feel like that should be irrelevant, especially if the spinner is like the way Jadeja was bowling that day. They should have completed that 4 over, but instead I think he brought himself on to bowl, and ultimately that swung the match in KKR's favour. And even in the game against SRH, it felt like the captaincy decisions too predictable in terms of field placements, bowling as well.
Yeah, I mean he against SRH, the recent one where SRH chased down 228. How many bowling changes? It 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8 bowlers. 8 bowlers. Bishnoi and Jadeja only bowled 1 over each.
I don't get that. That's those are meant to be your 2 frontline spinners, but
yeah, exactly. As I said, pace bowling wise, I think Archer and Andre Berger, I think they've been brilliant, and I like what I've seen from Deshpande and Brijesh, and at times Sandeep Sharma.
Yeah, I feel like he's not been at the levels that we've seen.
He's not been at the level, but at times you've seen
definitely
good things. But he's really underutilized Jadeja in this.
Weirdly,
Yeah, because we were saying before the tournament, Bishnoi and Jadeja, there's your 8 overs of spin right there. Parag, you don't have to bowl like yourself because you've got 8 overs of spin guaranteed. But Jadeja only bowls he's only been bowling in 1 or 2 overs a game, and Bishnoi. For Bishnoi to only bowl 1 over, that's just complete lack of trust in your main spinner.
Yeah,
what definitely. What does that say to him? Where as soon as it's 1 over, he's out the attack and he's done. And you're bringing yourself on when it hasn't really worked at all. So his captaincy decisions at the start of the tournament, when they won that first 4, I think he got it spot on most of the time. But since then, it's not good. Really not good.
Yeah, and they'll play top of the table Punjab as well, so it doesn't get any easier for Rajasthan. But then moving on to Sunrisers Hyderabad, I mean, the team seems to have all the momentum right now. 4 wins on the bounce. I think the main thing is their bowling looks very well settled. I mean, we saw in the last game, Patrick Cummins, the man, the myth, the legend, coming back. And even before that as well, I feel like the pace bowlers just stepped up. You saw Dilshan Madhushankar and Ehsan Malinga, the Sri Lankan duo. And Ehsan Malinga is actually the joint highest wicket taker, along with Bhuvneshwar with 14. And Anshul Kamboj.
I don't know how long that's going to last now.
We'll see. Definitely. But yeah, it feels like this SRH team, from where they were at the start, it's like a whole new team.
I just think pace bowling wise, what's really changed is they've gotten rid of the
Deadwood.
The experienced players that you want to pick because you paid a lot of money for them.
Yeah, we mentioned that in the last episode. Yeah,
we've actually gone for young players because as I said in the past, Nadkat, Harshal Patel, David Payne, others, they're bowlers who they're not power play bowlers. They're bowlers who bowl later on, but they bowl up front for them. And then it's just their combinations are completely wrong because they don't take any wickets in the power play. They allow teams to get away and they just go after them. But I think they started to find more consistency in terms of the pace bowling lineup because they're actually starting to take wickets in the power play with the new bowling lineup. the first win they had of the season was or the second win, sorry, against Rajasthan, when Rajasthan were like 9 for 5 or something like that, and Saqib Hussain and Praful Hingate took all them wickets. They're starting to take more wickets in the power play. I think that's what the key thing is for them. And now that they're doing that, they're starting to win more games, and comfortably win games as well. Because the batting was always going to be like their batting was always going to be as strong. We knew that, but their bowling's really they've really turned it around because they've actually got bowlers that suit the power play and they take wickets up front, and it allows
Definitely.
them to just keep that confidence going throughout the innings.
Yeah, even Nitish Kumar Reddy's been bowling up front and has been successful with bowling wickets. So, just the pace options all round. You've got multiple now. Saqib Hussain, I think, is really good at the death. He's a very good find. And I don't think it worked out for Praful Hingate because I think, again, was it the game against Punjab where he got smashed around? I think he had like 2 or 3 games and then he got dropped. So, but in terms of the guys coming back as well with Cummins, it's been excellent. But I want to focus on their batting as well because Abhishek Sharma, I feel like he's getting into his groove again. The Abhishek we know that can perform, and he right now is the current orange cap holder with 380 runs at a strike rate of 212. So, and to me that 100 he scored against Rajasthan, the 135 not out of 68, I think that's the best 100 of the tournament. I mean, I can't pick KL's because it's in the losing cause. But I feel like, especially with their top 3, with potentially the most destructive top 3, I think this is the most balanced SRH team we're seeing right now.
Yeah, where it needed to be compared to what it was at the start of the season. It just wasn't balanced at all. But yeah, that I said, that batting was always gonna win them games because Abhishek, Travis Head, Ishan Kishan, Henrik Klassen, Nitish Reddy. It's just a very good top 5. There's not really much anyone else can say about it. It's a very good top 5, and although Travis Head may not be in the best of form at the moment, they've still got the quality from Abhishek because Abhishek's starting to really, as you said, really starting to find his groove. I think Ishan Kishan's just been brilliant at that number 3 position. And then Klassen, apart from a couple of innings where I think there was one innings where I think he got like 39 off about 40 and batted really poorly. But apart from that, he's been outstanding as well. He's just finishing games off for them along with Nitish Reddy. And so, yeah, as I said, the batting was always going to win them games. I just think the bowlers have really got them now in a position where they can actually get top 4 because they've changed the bowling around and it's worked. So, yeah, full credit.
Yeah, definitely. And to think, like, from where they were at the start of the season, they're only 2 points behind second place RCV. And they're firmly in the playoffs in third at the moment, anyway. But so, yeah, these guys are really poised. I wouldn't have thought it given the start they had. But yeah, these guys are sort of primed to sort of like go on. And yeah, their next game is against Mumbai. So for both teams, that can sort of dictate how the rest of the season goes. But I mean, yeah, it's just I don't know what's going to happen next. It feels like in this tournament. But yeah, anything else you want to add? I think we've covered pretty much everything. And as I said earlier, it just feels like crunch time right now, especially for the teams that are struggling.
Yeah.
To just sort of kick up, because I do feel it's very open, because I think there's third and fourth are on 10 points, and then there's like 3 or 4 teams on 6 points, like sort of chasing pack. Yeah. So I think it's still very open, and all you need to do is just string a few wins, and you're right back up there.
This is the point of the league phase of the tournament where teams now have to start getting combinations right and start to find that consistency to win games, because a couple of teams that you said they didn't start well, but they're just starting to get into it. So, if a team goes on a run and say a Punjab or an ICB finish like top 2 or something, if a team goes on a run and say wins like 4 or 5 in a row and end up getting 4th place, you wouldn't really want to play them with the confidence they've got.
Definitely.
The form that they're in. So every team right now, they just have to say, right, we just have to, at this point, just it's not really desperation, but just try and win as many games as we can, no matter what, and then we'll see where that takes us at the end of the season.
Yeah, definitely. I could agree. And as we approach the second half of the season, I'm sure we'll recap how these teams have ended up. But yeah, once again, Dejan, many thanks for hopping on this Six and Out podcast. Another episode brought to you by Sports News Blitz. Be sure to check Sports News Blitz on Spotify and YouTube and to check out our website. Once again, I've been Bilal, joined by Dejan, and we'll see you next time.